You watch the carousel spin. One suitcase after another glides past. People are grabbing bags, hugging family, heading out. But yours? Still missing. You do that slow 360, check the belt, scan the floor, pretend you're not panicking. Maybe it's delayed, maybe it got stuck, or maybe it never even made the flight. That's when it hits you. Checking a bag isn't convenience, it's a gamble. Whether you dropped it off by choice or got cornered into gate checking, the result's the same. Your bag disappears into a system you don't control. And unless you've prepped smart, you're one bad barcode away from losing more than stuff. You're losing time, plans, peace of mind. In this video, we're unpacking the quiet risks of checking luggage and the simple moves that keep your suitcase from going on a solo trip around the world. Let's make sure next time you land, your bag does too. There's something oddly satisfying about a suitcase with travel stickers. A little worn handle, a faded barcode, maybe even a tag from that Vegas trip you swore would be your last. It feels like character, like proof this bag's been around. But to the airport's luggage system, that character can cause chaos. Those old tags and barcodes might look nostalgic to you, but to a scanner, they're still active, especially if they haven't faded. When a baggage machine sees more than one code, it doesn't stop to figure out which one's current. It just picks one, sometimes the wrong one entirely. That's how someone ends up in Denver while their suitcase heads for Dallas. Or worse, you touch down in Philadelphia and your bag quietly boards a flight to Frankfurt, all because last year's sticker never got peeled off. So before you even think about what to pack, make your suitcase a clean slate. No leftover tags, no crusty barcodes, no travel memoirs from 2022. Just one clear destination. And once it's cleaned up, help it speak clearly. A sturdy luggage tag outside, your name and phone, not your home address. A second ID tucked inside, preferably something that won't float away if TSA has to open the bag. Think printed itinerary or business card in a zipped pocket, because the only message your bag should be sending is this flight, this airport, this destination, nothing else. You'd think your suitcase is safe just because it has your name on it, but so does everyone else's. At baggage claim, logic takes a backseat. People are tired, distracted, rushing to beat the Uber surge. And when there are 10 nearly identical black roller bags coming down the belt, grabbing the wrong one becomes a very real possibility. Most of the time, it's accidental. Someone thinks they've got the right bag, wheels it out, doesn't notice until they're already home. Or worse, at a hotel 3 cities away. And by the time you file a claim, that suitcase could be anywhere. That's why a little personalization goes a long way. A bold luggage tag, a bright ribbon on the handle, a sticker that says not your bag, anything that makes yours stand out in a lineup of identical twins. Even better, a fabric luggage cover. Not the shrink wrap kind that turns your suitcase into a sweaty puzzle for TSA, but the stretchy zip-up kind that hugs your bag like a second skin. It protects from scratches, makes your suitcase easy to spot, and, bonus, it makes it look a little less tempting to steal. Because a plain black designer bag screams, "Take me," but a neon green suitcase with a flamingo sticker and a weird quote on the side, that one's gonna be left alone. You're at the baggage claim office. The flight's landed, the carousel's empty, and your suitcase? Still MIA. The agent behind the desk leans forward, typing slowly, then asks the dreaded question, "Can you describe your bag?" And just like that, your mind goes blank. Medium-sized, darkish, maybe navy, maybe black? It has wheels, probably. That moment, when your words fumble and their eyes glaze over, is exactly why snapping a photo of your luggage before you leave for the airport is a game changer. Because when things go sideways, a picture speaks a lot louder than "I think it had a zipper on the side." A clear shot of the outside helps the airline know exactly what to look for. A quick photo of the inside? That becomes your backup proof of what was actually in the bag, especially if you're filing a claim for missing items or damage. And if your bag ever bursts open during handling, those photos will help match what's yours before your stuff gets tossed in with someone else's socks. So next time you're zipping up your suitcase, take 10 seconds. Snap the outside. Pop it open, snap the inside. You'll probably never need those photos. But if you do, you'll be really glad you have them. You know that smug feeling when you skip the check-in line, wheel your trusty carry-on straight to the gate, and think, no baggage claim for me today. Then, just as you're about to board, the agent looks up and announces they're out of overhead space. Your carry-on gets tagged and whisked away to cargo. No warning, no time to argue. Most travelers pack that bag like it's untouchable. It holds your nicest clothes, your skincare, maybe a bottle of perfume you'd never check. But once that bag disappears down the jet bridge, it's no longer handled with care. It's thrown, stacked, flipped upside down, just like any other checked luggage. And if you didn't prepare for that, you're crossing your fingers the entire flight. That's why carry-ons deserve the same level of prep as checked bags. Any liquid needs to be sealed tight. Fragile items should be cushioned in the center, not tossed into a side pocket. And anything you can't afford to lose, keep it on you. This kind of surprise happens more often than people think. And the ones who stay calm when it does, they're the ones who packed smart, just in case. You're standing in your hotel bathroom, unzip your suitcase, and there it is, a crime scene. Your white shirt's soaked, your shoes smell like coconut, and your fancy travel-size lotion now fused to everything you packed. It doesn't matter how careful you were. If you threw that bottle into a side pocket and hoped for the best, the altitude had other plans. Because in the air, pressure doesn't play nice. Liquids expand, caps pop off, bottles squeeze themselves open in ways you didn't think possible. Add a few flips and tumbles from baggage handling, and suddenly your favorite sunscreen becomes a creamy, scented disaster. It starts with a ruined shirt, but it doesn't stop there. The spill seeps into fabrics, clogs up zippers, and turns your suitcase into a permanent tribute to floral chaos. The fix is easy. Tighten the caps, double bag the bottles, bury them in soft clothes, and never let them near anything fragile. You're not packing skincare, you're diffusing a tiny time bomb. And if you think this only happens to rookie travelers, ask the guy in 22B who opened his bag and found cologne-soaked boxers, a busted electric toothbrush, and an apologetic note from TSA. He's still recovering. You'd think it's obvious. Never put anything valuable in your checked luggage. Everyone's heard it, right? And yet, every week, someone does it anyway. Maybe you're rushing. Maybe TSA's line is stretching into next week. Maybe your bag's already zipped and you figure it'll be fine. So your camera goes in, your backup meds, that envelope with your spare passport, or worse, your house keys. Then your bag doesn't show up. At first, you're just annoyed. Then it hits you. Your charger, your documents, your only credit card not in your wallet are all gone. This isn't a minor travel hiccup anymore. It's a full-blown crisis. Checked luggage looks harmless until it disappears into a black box. The moment it vanishes behind that conveyor curtain, you lose control. It can be rerouted, delayed, cracked open, searched, or never show up at all. And the airline? They'll say sorry, but they won't cover your cash. They won't replace your electronics. And your prescription meds? You're on your own. No suitcase, no matter how fancy the lock, is a good place for anything you can't afford to lose. If it's irreplaceable, if it holds personal data, if you need it within 24 hours of landing, it doesn't belong down in the cargo hold. It belongs right next to you. Because the moment that bag goes out of sight, so does your control over what happens next. You did everything right. Arrived early, checked your bag, got to the gate on time. Then you land, and your suitcase doesn't. Turns out, it never made it onto the plane, not because it got lost in transfer, but because it got pulled aside, quietly, by security. Most travelers think once a bag disappears behind the counter, it's headed straight for the cargo hold. But in between, it has to pass one more checkpoint, the TSA scan. And that's where things can stall. Maybe it's a weird-looking tool on the X-ray, a bottle of lotion in the wrong spot, or just a scent that sets off the dogs. Whatever the reason, your suitcase gets flagged and pulled for inspection. And here's what they don't tell you. If that happens, no one's making sure your zipper's closed or your packing cube goes back where it was. Worse, if it takes too long, your bag might miss the flight altogether while you're already in the air. The fix? Know the rules. don't pack blind. Check the TSA's What Can I Bring page at tsa.gov before every trip, especially if you're not sure whether something belongs in a checked bag or carry-on. One wrong item can delay your bag more than a snowstorm. The scanner might stay silent, but your bag can still get left behind. We've all heard the same advice: get to the airport early. And for the most part, that's solid. Beat the traffic, clear security, grab a coffee before boarding. But when it comes to checking your bag, showing up too early might actually be what gets it lost. Here's what really happens behind the scenes. When you check a bag hours before departure, it doesn't get a head start toward the plane. It gets parked, sometimes for a long time. It sits in a holding area, waiting for sorting. And the more time it spends in that limbo, the more chances something goes wrong. A tag gets misread. A transfer gets missed. A handler loads it onto the wrong cart. In fact, some ramp agents will quietly tell you, bags checked early are more likely to be rerouted, held overnight, or even pulled off last minute to adjust plane weight. Meanwhile, bags checked closer to departure, they often go straight from counter to conveyor to aircraft. Less idle time, less room for error. Of course, cutting it too close is risky too. You don't want to be that person begging to check a bag at T-minus 10 minutes. But if you arrive super early, the smarter move is to wait, grab a bite, stretch your legs, and then about 45 minutes to an hour before your flight, that's when you send your bag off. Turns out timing isn't just about boarding. It could be the one thing that decides whether your bag arrives or goes sightseeing without you. Most people miss this. Frequent flyers don't. You're at the airport, stuck in a check-in line that's moving at the speed of regret. A few rows over, the first-class zone. Empty, calm, agents standing behind the counter with nothing to do. Here's what seasoned travelers know. Once the premium passengers are done, those agents often start pulling from the nearest economy line just to keep things moving. No announcement, no sign, just a subtle wave. And if you're standing close enough, that wave is for you. I've seen it happen in Denver, in Atlanta, even at Heathrow. One woman in a regular line got waved over, checked in within 2 minutes, while the rest of us stood there like we were waiting for concert tickets. So instead of joining the longest line, look around. Find the economy queue that's nearest the first-class counter. Stand there, wait it out, and let the quiet upgrade happen. And bonus, those agents? Often more experienced, less stressed, and way faster. It's a tiny trick. No extra cost, no special status, just a smarter way to start your trip. You're standing at baggage claim, your flight just landed and your suitcase hasn't. You pull out your phone, open the airline app, and just like that, you're not guessing anymore. You're watching, because right there on your screen is a little update. Bag scanned onto aircraft. Then later, bag arrived at destination. You breathe, you wait, and just as your nerves start creeping in, ding. Now at Carousel 5. Feels like magic, but it's not. It's just you being one step ahead. Most major airlines now let you track your checked bag in real time. All you have to do is check in through the app, turn on notifications, and let the system do its thing. It's simple and surprisingly reassuring. Want even more control? Drop an AirTag or SmartTag inside your bag. Hide it under the lining or zip it into an inner pocket. These little trackers quietly ping your phone with your bag's exact location, even if the airline shrugs and says, "We'll look into it." One traveler told me she landed in LA, but her bag was a no-show. The airline guessed it was in transit. Her phone? It said otherwise. Her suitcase was still sitting at her departure gate in Seattle. She showed them the map. 5 minutes later, she had her bag back. So sure, baggage systems aren't perfect. Tags fall off, scans fail, things get missed. The airline might lose your bag, but you won't. You're at the counter. The agent prints out your luggage tag, wraps it around your suitcase handle, and gives it a firm pat like, all set. You smile, take your boarding pass, and walk away, never giving that tag another thought. But here's what most travelers don't realize. That tiny barcode? It's the only thing the system relies on to send your bag to the right place. And if it's smudged, crooked, or misprinted, that's all it takes for your suitcase to go rogue. It doesn't happen every time, But when it does, it's rarely fixable in the moment. One blurred digit, one bad scan, and now your bag is heading for Burbank while you land in Boston. Classic airline mix-up, and all because no one caught the error in time. So next time you check your bag, take 2 seconds to glance at that tag. Is it printed clean? Can you read the 3-letter code for your final destination? If anything looks off, don't hesitate. Politely ask for a reprint. No agent's gonna say no. They'd rather fix it now than fill out a lost luggage report later. And one more tip, keep the little sticker they hand you with the barcode receipt. I usually stick it inside my passport, then snap a photo of it, just in case. Because when you're tired, jet-lagged, and just want your bag back, having that number makes all the difference. You're standing at the check-in counter, passport in hand, half awake but trying to look alert. The agent takes your bag, tags it, smiles, and says, "All set." You nod, say thanks, and walk away, assuming your suitcase is on its way to the same place you are. Except, that's not always how it works, especially if your flight includes a layover in another country. Let's say you're flying from Chicago to Athens with a connection in Paris. You check your bag at O'Hare and assume you'll see it next in Greece. But what the airline doesn't always say out loud is this. On some routes, you're required to collect your bag during the layover, go through customs, recheck it, and only then continue your journey. If you don't know that and you just head to your next gate, your suitcase might end up taking an unplanned vacation, and you won't even realize it until you're standing at the carousel with nothing but a sinking feeling. That's why there's one question you should always ask at check-in, especially on international flights with connections. Is my bag checked all the way to my final destination, or do I need to pick it up during transit? Don't assume. Don't skip it. It takes 5 seconds, and it could save you from chasing your bag across continents. Because no one wants to start their trip in Santorini, while their suitcase is still sightseeing in Charles de Gaulle. Ask this every time you check a bag abroad. Most travel tips come from glossy blogs or influencers posing next to their untouched luggage. But if you really want the truth, ask the folks who toss your suitcase onto the plane for a living. They've seen everything. Busted zippers, exploding shampoo, handles that snap clean off like twigs. They don't have time to be gentle. They're moving hundreds of bags in the rain, in the heat, often racing a countdown clock. And if your suitcase isn't built or packed to survive that, it won't. One ramp agent put it bluntly, if it doesn't roll, we throw it. Not because we want to, because we have to. That's why they swear by 4-wheel suitcases, not just for travelers, but for their own backs. Those bags move faster, smoother, and take less abuse in the process. Another? Skip the cheap hardshell cases. They crack, they buckle, they split open when you've stuffed in one too many just-in-case outfits. Fabric bags with solid frames, they bend and bounce, and they survive. Zippers matter more than logos. TSA locks are your best friend. Plastic wrap? They hate it. It jams the wheels, makes your bag harder to move, and almost guarantees it'll get rough-handled out of frustration. And please, for the love of everything at baggage claim, don't overstuff. If your bag is bursting like a Thanksgiving plate, that zipper's going to lose the battle midair. When it does, your underwear will meet the cargo floor, which, by the way, is not clean. Think dirt. Think grease. Think worse. So when you pack, don't just think about how it looks leaving your house. Think about what it'll go through, because once it vanishes behind that conveyor belt, your suitcase is on its own. You can't protect it from every bump and drop, but you can give it a fighting chance. None of these tips are glamorous, but they work. And when your suitcase rolls out at baggage claim, intact, dry, and right on time, you'll know every little choice paid off. If this helped you avoid a luggage nightmare, hit that like button, leave a comment with your own packing tricks or horror stories, and don't forget to subscribe. Because next time, we're diving into what not to pack in your carry-on and the rules TSA really enforces. See you at the gate, and may your suitcase always arrive with you, not after you.